Yo, what's up? This is Rob, aka Skinny Black, Skinny Black's Lounge. Man, I just thought of something. If it wasn't for that intro, we wouldn't even know what you look like, Jay. Glad we got it. Yo, let's see. Back into it. Hey, why you at it, Jay? Introduce yourself.
JT, period is silent. Hi, Mom.
Yup. We also have in the mix the elusive, the exclusive, the ghost of Lebo. My man is in the house. My man is in the house. We'll have a couple of guests hop in um, once we get started, when they're available, when they're ready. But for now, we're gonna get into a couple of times. We had a little fun time last week, talking about we did our first sports show, did the GOAT conversation around NBA. It was interesting. I mean, somebody was talking about some crazy stuff, but let's get back into it this evening. But before we hop into the topic of tonight, as we always do about this time, suck a shit.
I was thinking
Uh-oh.
about as a kid, a young man, even now to this day, um, I've always liked science fiction. You know, um, and I'll catch myself now, man, in a series or a good movie, and I'll be caught up in at the house watching science fiction, man. So like everybody else, man, I grew up loving Star Trek. Thought Captain Kirk was the coolest dude on the planet. Um, my favorite was Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I mean, come on, man, which one? Who? All of us want to be a Jedi.
For
Well, I'm
sure.
sure there's a couple bad. I'm sure bullies in the neighborhood thought they was Darth Vader, but that's other people's dysfunction. That's not for me to talk about.
For sure.
So you know, I told you this story before. I sit in my fortress of solitude at the house, crib, and every now and then I pop a edible and go into a little different consciousness and be chilling, right?
Mm-hmm.
So one night, um, I took a little bit too heavy of a dose, obviously, because like in my mind, I was a Jedi, and I was Luke Skywalker at the crib, the lightsaber out, boom, you know, saving the universe, fighting the dark side of the force.
Ah,
And I woke up the next morning, man. I had pissed all on my bathroom wall. I, my high ass. That lightsaber, that was my real saber.
they're the real labor.
That was the real saber, man. I was pissed all over the wall. Whoa,
Lightsaber is meat
whoa.
saber. Pause.
And so you're crazy. And so upon reflection, I realized, man, sometimes you get, based on your perception, you think you in a fight and you just really pissing on your own situation.
Mm.
In my experience as a man, there's been more fights over what was heard than what was said.
Mm. Speak on it.
Yeah, I'm sure you had experience. You talk to your wife, or you ever talk to an ex girlfriend, and you say one thing, and they do the King James version translation of what you said. Because in King James, man, they turn the African Middle Eastern savior into Kenny G.
Pretty much.
And that's what a woman will do to you in a conversation, man. You say, hey, I just want to watch the game. So what I hear you saying is you don't want to spend no time with me.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll be like, I like the Lakers. It's Luka. So, you know, and so as a person that's learned how to navigate these minefields, this is how men stay quiet. Because a dirty little secret is, and I was telling this to somebody the other day, men don't handle women's emotions well, right? So what we do is we just avoid them altogether, which leads to a lack of communication. But when they mishear and you end up in an argument, they think they won because you've been quiet. But what they don't realize is they done pissed on the wall and messed up a relationship and an opportunity.
Mm, mm, mm.
And that's why you edible high Jedi niggas is on some sucker shit.
Love it. Love it. Love it. And, hey, another classic one. Jedi High.
Edible high Jedi, sir.
Edible High Jedi. My bad. I done messed up
You
the
can, but
joke.
you can play
Edible
with
High
it. It works.
Jedi.
It works. It works in all combinations.
Exactly. Pissing on the wall. Exactly. I love it. I love it. Oh man. So what we want to do today, let me pull this up right quick. There was a podcast I was listening to. It was and the guy was interviewing, what's his name? I think his name is 'cause I want to give him a shout out. I mean, if somebody it is, I'll figure it out. Oh, Terrain Walker. His show, his YouTube channel, and he was interviewing Dr. Tommy J. Curry, who wrote The Man Not, and which is should be absolute required reading for everybody, not just brothers and sisters, not just brothers but sisters also. And so you know, Dr. Curry just go deep on just uncovering and peeling back the layers of all these different aspects of Black life. And one thing I wanted to talk about today is how we think about a couple of things. First thing is how we define this thing called Black masculinity. We heard of toxic masculinity. I don't know what the opposite of that is. I don't know what the balanced part of that is because I never heard of toxic femininity. But I was having a conversation with a friend on yesterday actually, and we were just unpacking some of this Latino cat, and we were just talking about just some of the aspects around masculinity. He was talking about, when we talk about balance, people get it wrong when they start using these terms, masculinity, femininity, because when you think about warrior culture, especially when you talk about, and I use the samurai as an example, and the book, The Art of War with Sun Tzu, the samurai could shoot the bow and arrow. They were swordsmen. They knew all the warrior stuff, but they also was down with calligraphy. They was also down with poetry and haiku. I know you like haiku, Jay. They were down with they were down with gardening. They'd be chopping up and cutting up and they bonsais. So these cats they had that balance. And some would say that's that feminine energy coming through, but it made them a whole complete person is what we were searching for. And even when you look at The Art of War with Sun Tzu, the part of the book, which is most of it really, where he's talking about negotiation, he's talking about strategy, he's talking about all these things to not fight, to not activate this aggression. Some may say these are feminine qualities, but again, it makes the warrior a whole complete person to get to the point to where they have these victories that are win-win, right? In certain, for the most part, when you think about it. So I say all that to say, as we think about the definitions of the prevailing narrative around Black masculinity and Black manhood, I wanted us to start thinking about, how do you define either one of those? First, start. How do you define Black masculinity? Is it different from Black manhood?
Well, I'll do this. When we say Black masculinity, let's first acknowledge a couple things. That Black is an umbrella term. In the United States, Black can mean that your ancestry is from Arkansas or Jamaica. You could be from the Caribbean or Cleveland. I would say that there's something specific to African American masculinity, which is not often
Okay.
spoke of.
Okay. Yeah. Speak on
And
that.
because of our history and our roots in this country, um, there is a lot of hyper masculinity.
Mm.
There's stereotypes that we've had to endure and carry. And there is a lack of nuance that we're allowed to have or balance in our masculinity. Um, that's number one. Number two, I would also say, well, no, on a side note, I would say, I know haiku. That was my first interracial relationship in college was haiku. The, uh,
It was short and sweet, though.
good day, man. Man, she wasn't my 5'2". No, but the second part of it is that you mentioned the samurai and in their culture, because they were warriors, you can't be in a constant state of war or aggression. You have to have balance, and so you have to find things to balance yourself out, or to
Yes.
calm yourself, to have a different type of focus. So the focus of gardening, the focus of poetry, you're still perfecting something and being focused, but it is not aggression filled. So as men, we go out into the world and we fight and we struggle and we push, we lead, we do all the things that are necessary. We have to have spaces and places where we can refocus our energy into something else,
Mm.
whatever that is. I know men who love to cook. I'm one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I put on some music and I cook, and I'm cool. Um, and, I know some men that like to take long drives.
Yep.
Some people do it through music.
Yep.
Whatever it is, we have to have that balance. I and this the idea of that somehow makes you lacking as a man is silly. And I think that for the most part we're getting away from that. However, I will also submit this, and I would love to hear your thought on this. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's similar to a teacher or a professor,
Hmm.
or
Say
even
more.
a parent in this way.
Mm-hmm.
You can go from being strict as a professor and a teacher and then loosen up your classroom and everything's fine.
Yeah.
You cannot be the loose, quote unquote, fun teacher or professor and then
Right.
try to tighten up your classroom.
Right.
And what I mean by that is you need to train the warrior first before you train the poet. Because
Agreed.
poets aren't gonna fight, but
Right.
warriors will write poetry.
I like that. Absolutely.
And where we're twisted in this world is, in many ways, in our society, is that I've said this before. as men, but as African American men, and I'm going to make this distinction as African American men, and I'll speak on our culture because I don't know other folks' culture like that, and they can speak on theirs. But many of our women see men as dysfunctional women and not the men that we are. And so when we're seen as dysfunctional women, womanhood becomes the standard.
Wow.
And so the poetry is emphasized before the warrior, but they want you to be the warrior when the warrior is useful to them.
Wow.
And they are disappointed when that warrior can't come out.
That's deep, man.
So our aggression is not a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
Our aggression when it doesn't serve them is.
Ooh. Ooh. Wow. Wow. That's dope. So I'm glad you added that layer in. So as we think about these definitions, what role does the feminization of the definition or the narrative about Black men play, or African American men?
Well, I mean, you can say black. I mean, I want to be a little bit more pinpointed and specific because each see we say white people, but white covers Irish. White covers sometimes Jewish.
Mm-hmm.
White covers different religion, Protestants, Catholics,
Mm-hmm.
German, Italian, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll say, no, I'm white, but I'm Italian American. Or my roots are in Croatia.
Yeah, we know in this country is about
we
skin
need
color,
to
like
we
you
need to
white.
start we need to start making distinctions, not for separation, but there's separate lineages, there's separate histories, there's
Yes.
nuance in culture. Everybody's got a different flavor, you know. And I have nothing but love for folks from all corners of the world, and I enjoy experiencing culture, you know. And so to just lump everything as black, that's actually doing a disservice to us as a people. So that I just make that specific thing when you talk about manhood, because the African American experience that's rooted in slavery and Jim Crow is a different experience.
Mm-hmm.
Most most of the other black folks came post early civil rights.
Right.
So they don't have that experience.
Right.
Now, slavery was all over the place. They had them on the islands. They had them all over, and they can speak to that. But that was also a different type of slavery.
Yep.
We had a special brand here.
Mm-hmm.
We had our Diet Coke had a hint of vanilla. Theirs had a hint of lime. Somewhere else they had lemon. So recognize my Diet Vanilla Coke that I rock in my lineage.
For sure. I love that.
Now now this actually is a through line across Western civilization that we have been feminized. And I think that's an experience that if you get a group of men together, to certain degrees, we're gonna all feel that. Other cultures have pushed back against it more and are maintaining, but you're seeing it, right? And this idea, and this is one of the reasons why the African American experience is so specific, because the idea of the patriarchy and power as the only time America has given black men power.
It's crazy.
African American men power. It's funny, but it was for the purpose of a white woman's come up.
Yep.
I upset some people, and I'm like, for example, I upset some people when I just try to explain things to people because they don't like the answer,
Mm-hmm.
they get mad as if it's your like it's your position, like you on the campaign trail. For example, I was having a conversation with a black woman, and she asked me what we was talking about DEI and this and that. She's like, "Why aren't black men saying more about it?" I said, "Well, because black men did the math on it, and we tired of fighting for stuff that don't benefit us." I'm saying
Mm-hmm.
in general, there's a group of black men. We eighth on the list. So what we fighting for eighth for?
The Ocho.
I was like, we was eighth on the regular list. So that ain't helping us. So we can just keep doing what we doing.
Right.
That's why when they eliminated DEI, you didn't see all them articles talking about, oh, black men losing their jobs right and left. It's because we didn't get them in the first place. So it wasn't nothing to lose.
Man.
So there's a new spirit that is rising in African American men, specifically, and black men in general. Um, what's in it for us?
Mm-hmm.
And also, I would also like to say, in terms of masculinity, the emphasis on hypermasculinity. When you really don't have power or an identity, you cling on to things.
Mm.
That's why somebody ready to rip your head off for stepping on their sneakers.
Right.
Because what else you have?
That's it.
You know, you have what is right in front of your nose and what is readily apparent.
And somebody just stepped on all I got,
And
and I'm
all I
about to go
got,
from 0 to 100.
yeah. When you have a sense of self knowledge, when you have a future, when you have responsibilities, when you have a legacy, you give a damn about some sneakers.
Right.
So um, that was a long, long walk in the park, but because there's so much to it, and
Mm-hmm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
layers to it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the last thing I'll say is, I do not get to define womanhood or femininity, and women do not get to define manhood or masculinity. And one of the things that's been overcooking my grits for many years
Yes.
is women defining masculinity or manhood, but it's more oftentimes defined in terms of what serves them. How I
Whew.
stand and how I move as a man has nothing to do, or very little to do, with that woman. She may benefit how I walk in this world. If I choose to be a gentleman and that is part of my makeup, she'll benefit from me being a gentleman. But I'm not a gentleman because of her.
Mm.
I'm a gentleman because that's the way I walk through this world. I choose to
Yes.
be responsible. I choose to be courteous. That's how I walk in this world. I'm respectful. That's how I walk in this world. And you will get the benefit of it. But it is not you that's doing that. My standard is my standard for me.
Mm.
And if it doesn't suit you, well, so it wasn't for you.
Right.
It's for me.
Man, we got to get some sound effects in here because when you sound like
And that's not disrespectful.
not at
I'm
all.
I'm I'm past the point in my life when people, just because you don't like something
Mm.
doesn't mean it's offensive or disrespectful.
Right.
That's just a way of you not having to deal with the fact of the matter that's presented in front of you. That's a way of not engaging,
Mm-hmm.
pushing something away. I'm offended, therefore I don't have to listen anymore.
Right.
I can just shut down. You know,
Feelings over
um,
facts.
and I'll let you go ahead. Because I was had 1.5 feet on the soapbox just there.
1.5. You was about to get off.
Yeah, I said, step my ass down. Let me do a dismount.
Well, I thank you for that. That the answer was great and contextual and broad and had breadth and depth. Um, my next part of the conversation is about and I put a pin in the lineage piece too, because we got to come back to that. It's about what's the danger when someone else defines you, right? As a group, right? As Black folk, we know the narrative of us being threatening, and especially Black men, but Black folks as a whole, they may see that from Black women too. Some white women may see that from Black women. What's the danger of someone else defining who you are? So when we talk about feminization, and you put that layer on it, or we put the layer on it, and we saying, "Oh, you making this definition of Black manhood with this layer of feminization," what you end up with, now this may cause a little controversy, but it's the way I see it. What you end up with, you have people defining something that they don't know, they don't have experience for, and therefore they don't understand. And then take that and then define themselves as that. So stepping on toes today, maybe, but you can't be uh, uh, a non-Black man defining what Black manhood or Black masculinity is, and then claim it. Because what ends up happening is you claim all the caricatures of what you think it is, right? How many times you seen females who claim Black masculinity, and they looking like all the stereotypical Black man stuff with the ball cap and the sag and stuff, and acting a certain way. I'm like, yo, that's not Black masculinity. That's not Black manhood. That's a caricature of what you see like through the funhouse mirrors. That's not us. And if you're not having a conversation with us and not really figuring out what that is, you can't possibly get that right. Speak on it.
Well, I mean, first of all, if you're a woman and you dress like NWA's first album, that's on you.
But don't call that Black masculinity. Right?
Yeah,
You
exactly.
just like to dress like that, right?
Yeah, exactly. DJ Quick, look at that.
That's cool. You want to dress like that's cool.
But so you gave two scenarios. You gave the the fear, the predator angle, and you gave the feminization angle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or the danger angle, I should say. The danger
Yeah.
angle and the feminization angle, which basically turns this into predator and prey.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's forget how the greater society views this, and that. But the way that it's been presented and born into our psyche is how we see each other. So I mean,
Wow.
outside of Cain and Abel, it's hard to kill your brother,
Wow.
but it's easy to kill something that's dangerous. It's easy to put down the threat. And also, if you see yourself as dangerous or a predator, what do predators do in the jungle? They go after
Mm-hmm.
prey.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't see your brother and you see food, you eat.
Wow.
So both of those extremes are dangerous
Yep.
and it's not productive,
Yep.
you know.
Yep.
Um, so it's how we see each other, how we see ourselves. You know, it's so funny. And now that I'm older, I see this happen all the time. You know, you walk into a place and, um, there was an old rap song, and the line was, "Brother say, should I keep a mirror in my pocket so I can practice looking hard?" And brothers be having their face, and then you be like, "Hey man, what's going on?" Or you give them a nod, and then you can see like the air come out of it. Hey, what's up, man?
Just hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
Right?
Good, brother.
Like, oh, I don't have to. Or like, I used to when
Mm-hmm.
I used to throw fight parties at the crib,
Mm-hmm.
and every now and then it'd be a dude that comes that I don't know that wasn't invited, and you could see him when he first get there, and then he realized, oh, it ain't that kind of party. Everybody here is cool,
Right.
and his shoulders drop, and the next thing you know, he got a drink in his hand, and he talking, and it's all good. But that first entrance is tight,
Yep. Yep.
and we have our armor on and our mask on so much, man, and we don't see the humanity in each other
Yes.
oftentimes until it's too late.
Yes. Yes.
That same teenager or young man that everybody, when something happens to him, that goes, "Oh, it's on the news. It's so sad. I feel so bad." If he was with two of his friends walking up the street, you wouldn't be like, "Oh, look at them cute little boys. Look at them cute
Right.
young men." That is not the reaction they get.
At all.
So like, on the side note, I'm tired of the protests after we dead. That don't do nothing for me.
Right.
You know. Um, so it's just like it's how we see ourselves and one
Mm-hmm.
another. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, sorry, my mind went to. I'll tell you the story later. My mind went to the argument that me and my mother had about her funeral. Anyway, I don't know why you talking so much.
Right.
It ain't like when the time comes you're gonna be able to do nothing about it.
Right.
It's like I was like, now when I was growing up, I used to say I'm gonna do what I want to do anyway, and that wasn't true. But this time, it's true.
Right. You should be
You could
looking
you
from
could
on
you
high.
Yeah, you could stop me when I was 12. You can't stop me when that happened.
No.
Um,
No.
but now the see, let me say this correctly,
Okay.
or as correctly as I possibly can. There is a difference between being less rigid and being fluid.
Mm. Speak on it.
The bounds and the shackles on African American masculinity need to be far less rigid, but they don't need to be fluid.
Oh, agreed.
Fluid implies no rules, no
Right.
standard. It just
Right.
is what it is. That's not it.
Right.
Because there are some standards of manhood, of masculinity. There's things that you have to, markers you have to hit in order to achieve these things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I don't want to go so far away from a standard or some rigid, some expectation, something, on the board that now becomes fluid and is just a free for all,
Right.
right?
There's no
And because then
discipline
you
in
have
it.
nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
No
Because
values,
and
no discipline. Mm-hmm.
because without discipline, you don't have manhood masculinity.
There we go.
It's a cornerstone
Right.
because you can't. You want to leave us up to our own desires and devices?
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Okay.
And then to that fluidity piece, It's like, hey, listen, that's at a certain point in time, we got to be on the same page about our values. You know, we either gonna have integrity or we not. That's not fluid,
Yeah.
right? So
See,
you know,
people don't understand what male lack of discipline looks like.
ooh, they see it every
It,
day.
no, it looks like prison.
Right. Good point.
No, and people don't think prison. No, that's what prison is full of men
Yep.
that lack the discipline.
Yep. Yep.
It doesn't look like what you think. Men don't have long arguments.
Mm-mm.
You know.
Mm-mm.
So, but anyway, go ahead. You were saying.
No, that was dope. That was dope. To the point of, how does that impact, the black community as a whole? Like we talk about, and we had laid out the idea of a black agenda, and I'm all over that idea, right? I'd rather us as a people, advocate for policies that benefit all of us rather than advocating for a personality who gonna fail and let us down. Where has that? We've done that doesn't work. Let's try something else. And as we think about, the planks that would be, or the policies that would be on such a black agenda, if there aren't pieces of that connects to, and I go back to Dr. Tia Johnson's piece around the black male agenda, if there are not some pieces from that's adopted into the overall black agenda, then black brothers gonna be like, you know what are we doing? Because you talk about family court, you talk about all these different the legal system, like all these different pieces that will significantly change black male life. And if nobody's talking about it, is nobody advocating for it, if we're not getting something for our votes, if we're not getting something for our energy, how I just say vote with your feet, whether we're showing up or not, whether we hitting, checking the box or not, there's gotta be some sort of what's in it for me, like you said earlier. What should and if the narrative is, and the definition of the brothers who are supposed to be part of the black collective is being defined by someone else and not us, then we'll never see the type of policies that we need, deserve, or even is gonna transform our day-to-day lives. Because again, you can't define what you're not.
Well, like I was saying before, we're just now getting to the point of advocacy for ourselves.
Yeah.
I don't think that most brothers, or many brothers, can even say specifically what would be for us.
Mm-hmm.
But when they hear it,
yes,
then they go, oh yeah, oh man, I didn't even think about that one.
Yep.
So when you talk about family court and you talk about these different things, yeah, once it gets out there, then the wheels start turning. For a lot of these things, we don't even have the words right now.
Yes. Yep. Yep.
And as the words come about, then it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's what that is.
Mm-hmm. I want that right there. Yep.
As a few states, for example, have moved to a baseline of joint custody 50-50 in
Kentucky,
divorce.
right? Is that Kentucky one of them?
Kentucky's one of the states.
Yeah.
Well, that's a game changer.
Yep.
The idea,
and paternity test.
but I'm saying that the idea of equality, except for, well, if we value both the masculine and the feminine, we are both as equally important in parenting. We are
Mhm.
both as equally important in the day-to-day lives of our children. And if you have men that are more than willing to do that, then the baseline is 50-50
Mhm.
because you are two sides of a coin.
That's right.
And I would think that women, if they were truly into equality and truly wanted men to be fathers, they would this would be celebrated. But damn it, let me tell you. Mm-mm-mm.
No, sir, that's not happening. You would think, like one of our guys, like Reddit, his brother, one of his brother was heading up, was principal at one of the all boys school right here in LA, and women killed that idea, pushed him
Oh man.
out. I mean, it was so anyway. So as I'm thinking about this whole the black agenda piece, the defining manhood and masculinity piece, and if because before there's going to be you and Brett on here, and what, and you two have unique perspectives around this because not only are you fathers, you were single fathers. Um, and it played out differently for both of you. And I I was only that for a second, so I don't have enough experience to even speak on that like that. But the interesting thing is, but we all have to go through it. How do you convey or talk about what it means to be not only a black male? What does it mean to talk about masculinity to your son as they're growing up? And in reflection, because all of our sons are young men, what are the things that turned out well, and what are the things that still need some work or we could have done differently?
Well, first of all, shout out to Brett. Um, you know, um, hey, I will be seeing him in a couple days.
Yep.
Anyway, Brett holds the he is the one of one. He's the only man that I've ever met on the college campus that was drinking a bottle of Boone's Farm when I met him.
That's the one on one.
That's the one on one because it was the middle of the daytime. It wasn't like at a party or something. It was the middle of the daytime, and he had some Boone's Farm in a brown paper bag. That's my dog.
Hey, not knowing he can get kicked out of school.
Not knowing he, yeah. It was like, hey, player, I don't know you know this, but I want to read
Yeah,
up on the rules.
that's illegal, bro.
I was like, not even the crazy white dudes are doing that move. Put it in a water bottle, man. So this is what I'll say in terms of fatherhood. The fatherhood piece is I'm now at the point where I've been a father for more years than I have not been a father.
Mm-hmm.
This
Mm-hmm.
is the best I've ever been at it, but that's because I'm coming up on, I am 3 weeks away from having 29 years of
29.
experience.
Mm-hmm.
And my children are 10 years apart. My son is the oldest, my daughter is the baby. She got a very different father than he got. And I would
Absolutely.
say she got a better father than he got. And I told him that, and
Oh
he
wow.
agreed. So he said, "You'll get no fight from me, homie." Um,
Sound like Marcus.
so yeah, so in many ways, um, me and my son grew up together.
Mm-hmm.
The the mistake I think that we make as parents is not admitting that we're learning too, that we don't have it all figured out. To point out, hey, um, hey, I made a mistake right there.
Mm-hmm.
My bad. Let's talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
To give grace, to be honest.
Right.
You want an honest relationship with your children, but you lie to them all the time.
Mm.
You lie to yourself all the time.
Mm.
It, it's incongruent. It doesn't make sense.
Right.
It's not logical. You know. Um,
Mythological niggas is comical.
hey man, So the mistakes that I made as a father, we don't have that kind of time. But I'll summarize in some of them. I made mistakes of immaturity. I was too rigid at times. Um, I believe that a man, a father should provide structure, but there has to be room, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't be too rigid. Um, Sometimes I was too harsh,
Mm.
and I should have given more grace in certain situations.
Yeah.
Um, this wasn't a mistake. This was just this is just being honest. You don't know what you don't know.
Real talk.
And when you know, then you adjust. The mistake is to get new information and not use it.
Mm. Yes. Yes. But here's I'm gonna point something out to you. Here's what I think ends up being a function um, of that black masculinity. The first question was, "What did you do well?" Right? But then, you know, the dope part is the accountability and the mea culpas of, oh, this is what I could have done better. This is what I did wrong. This is what I misstep. Like, let's celebrate you. Where did you convey the tenets and the aspects and the values of manhood well?
Okay. Well, the first thing is, what did I do well? I was present.
There we go.
Um, I was there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a constant. You know. Um, the second thing is I'm supportive. As my kids, will say, Dad has our back no matter what.
Right.
That doesn't mean I'm going to agree with everything, but we can talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the third thing I did was there were rules, there is structure, you know, and I didn't turn it into 100 rules. We're gonna handle the basics,
Right.
and because I don't need you to memorize this 1,000-page thing, you know. Um, like respect.
Mm.
That's a constant. We're gonna always show respect. Um, in the house, it was like, hey, common areas, they're going to be clean.
Sure.
We make up our bed. What else? I got this one from my uncle. This is a dictatorship, and I'm the dick. But there was rules and structure. So that I provided. From my daughter, I became a much better listener. Um, she has a need to talk things out, um, and I had to learn how to get underneath the words with her.
Mm.
Um, More oftentimes than not, she knows the answer, but we just got to take our time to get to it.
Right.
She got to get she got to get it off. You know,
Right.
what else did I do right?
Mm-hmm.
I showed them what it looked like.
Honestly.
You know,
Authentically.
I showed them what it looked like. I never, it's, it's no guilt associated with being my kid, man. Like, I'm not guilting you into the gift. I'm not guilting you into the praise. I'm not guilting you into being around me. You know, it's like I do what I do. I love you. You know what's up, and we can talk about it.
Right. Real simple.
Yeah,
Real simple.
like you need me. You know where I'm at. You know, and the honesty is I don't praise a lot, but when you praiseworthy, you get the praise. When I
Mm-hmm.
disagree, I'll tell you on some BS.
Right.
And you can look, and you can stay on it though. And but you deal with the consequences.
Hey man, I think the main, you know, catalyst for that piece, that section right there was, man, there are gonna be some cats who watch this and be like, wow, because there's no manual to this thing. And if there was like one or two gems which you gave, that cat wasn't thinking about, wasn't doing, and now they have, one more or two more tools in a toolbox, man, the children benefit, which means our community benefits, which means, that changes everything for everybody. So thank you for that, man. I appreciate that.
Let me just offer this. I was listening to a podcast, and the gentleman was talking about African Americans, Black folks, and generational wealth. How we don't pass it down. Majority of us don't have life insurance policies or investments, and our next generation is constantly starting from scratch. You know, um, but there's also a lack of generational wealth in things like wisdom, discipline,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
family structure,
Mm-hmm.
masculinity, femininity, values, morals, structure that we're also not passing down.
Right.
So it's one thing to start from scratch and be poor financially.
Huh.
It's another thing to start from scratch and be poor financially and poor morally,
Morally. Yes.
poor family wise,
Yes.
poor structurally.
Yes.
You have a very small chance of surviving against all of those odds.
Man, slim to none.
And we lack generational wealth on many levels. As a community, we do not respect our men or manhood. It is devalued and minimized.
Mm-hmm.
We do not respect our elders and their wisdom.
Right.
And that is part of the reason why we're in the situation that we're in today.
Agreed.
Every woman that I've been involved with, my sister has read and given me the report on, and she is as accurate as a pregnancy test.
100%. She about 100. She batting 1,000.
She, in turn, does not want me to meet guys she's involved with because she knows I'm accurate too, and she don't want to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
There was a time where you couldn't get to a woman in the family without going through a man in that family.
Right.
And that stopped a lot of BS at the door. But that's when the men in that family were respected and their opinion was valued.
Yeah.
And we can negotiate what these things look like in modern times, but respect is not negotiable.
Not fluid.
And that's the problem. We're not negotiating terms. There's a lack of the foundation, so there's nothing to talk about yet.
Yo, we got welcome to the lounge. Cam, aka Mr. Jim's in the gym. Introduce yourself.
What up, good people? Cameo Williams, just another good brother. Happy to be on here with some fellow good black men.
Dope.
I mean,
man, listen. Hey, we've been talking about redefining Black manhood and Black masculinity, the impacts of folks who aren't Black men defining that, and feminization. We've got into Black agendas and the impact of what does it look like when a Black agenda doesn't have specific things that Black men are going to want. So we got to get something for our vote, for our feet. And we started talking about the impacts of, Black masculinity, what it looks like being a father, and how did it work out having sons? How did it work out to convey what Black masculinity, Black manhood is as they were growing up? What worked, what could use a different approach for someone else. And so that's what we were. That's what Jay was just laying it out. And I was telling them that the great thing about it was that what he said was that there are going to be some folk who are going to watch this and be like, I didn't think of that, or I didn't know that. And now they'll have a couple of new tools in their own toolbox, and perhaps now their lineage, their legacy shifts, change, improves, their family situation improves. That son now is different for his family, his community, his neighborhood, and that becomes a ripple effect. So that's what we were. Anything you want to say on that before I get into this clip?
That's a lot. First of all,
but we've been on here for a minute.
Obviously, I was handling fatherhood type things.
Hey, there it is.
When we say redefining as in evolving, or what
We
we
mean as someone that defined it for us, who wasn't us. So we are redefining, technically says defining for ourselves.
Okay, I got you. Okay, let's get into it. I'm there's some good.
Hey Cam, let me help you out a little bit, Cam, before he go to this clip that none of us are prepared for.
Wait, what? You stupid. What are producers, man? What are producers?
No. So for example, I said women feel very comfortable in our community defining manhood for us, but it typically falls under the category of some shit they want us to do for them. A real man does, and the next words out of her mouth is some shit she benefits from. Whereas opposed to how I walk on this planet as a man and my standards, you may benefit from, but it's not designed for you. It's designed for me. So the way that they want to design manhood is that like I'm a ATM that can fight.
Right. Hey, when you travel and when you want to bring some liquor and they say it's duty free, that's what they think. That's what the women think black masculinity is for them. It's duty free, right?
Duty free, no tax.
They just straight want the duty. Very, very interesting. But I definitely get where JT is coming from. Obviously, where you're coming from, Bobby. It makes me think of. I'm not even sure they believe that.
Say more. Speak on that.
In fact, factually, I know they don't believe that. They believe it for their man or the man they want to use as a resource only. They don't believe that for their sons and their nephews and their cousins. They are not telling them. They are not telling. We know a gang of black men. We in frats. We need to do a poll. I assure you that none of their homegirls, none of their aunts, their mothers told them that masculinity and the expectations and responsibilities that we hear our black women saying for their men, that they were told. I got a gang of them. I've never heard that from any of them. So when I say I don't believe that they believe that, they don't believe it, except when they want to use it as a resource. That is it.
What does that look like? What does that look like when they do that?
It looks like duty.
Oh, okay.
That's exactly it. It looks like duty. And in fact, and I'm sure B has a clip that'll be different from this, but not to get us too far off, but I posted a clip. It speaks to how it definitely needs to be defined in terms of black man masculinity, because the women that are coming up now, here's the dichotomy of the situation. The women are not telling their sons. They're not telling their nephews. They're not telling they frat.
That's crazy.
Not. They are telling their daughters. Because the young social media narrative is all about using. It is all about that man has to be a resource. So either they're just grabbing this out of thin air, or it's being taught to them, right? So let me not put words in their mouth. It's one or the other. They didn't just all of a sudden have an epiphany as a 21 to 30-year-old and say, you know what? They need to, basically it almost looks like they streetwalkers. That's how they present it.
I mean, you heard the term, you can't, there's no way you can have a wet coochie and an empty purse.
Man, listen.
I didn't heard that.
Listen, let me tell JT doesn't know this. Rob knows this. This may be the most viral clip that we get because I'm gonna share a personal experience, and as I begin to tell it, right, not to get us too far off, Rob, but as I begin to tell it, so at the time, y'all, I'm engaged. And for those who looked at me, if y'all want to roast me, I don't care. I'm gonna tell y'all to tell so we get the perspective. My fiance, beautiful woman. Women would say she's one of them boss chicks. But you agree, Rob? That's what they would have said.
I would agree.
Right? Well, I want to be clear. She's my fiance, right? This is not we in it. We're talking one day, and we had a few ups and downs. By the way, my income is cool, right? Because she's an entrepreneur. I'm cool. I'm making it happen in the house, whatever. One day we're talking, and she told me, it's a true story. She said, I'm not in the mood because your wallet doesn't match your sexual appetite.
Wow.
Do you remember that?
I do. Hey, it hurt. Hey, it hurt again.
So it hurted me. It hurt me to just share it. Right?
Yeah, it hurt again to hear it.
And I was like, I said, what? She repeated it. And then when she saw my expression as she was heading up the steps, then she kind of made a little chuckle, but it wasn't meant to be funny. And it never left me. It changed the whole dynamic of my prism of where I was and where we were and where we weren't as far as where our relationship was. And so when you say that, Rob, I have firsthand knowledge of that. In fact, JT, so you can tell your partners, later on, when I went out of town and came back, she had a car. Who got her the car, Rob? See if you remember. The ex got her a car. She texted me and said, I just wanted to send you this before you have a hissy fit. But she had already got the car. You heard me right. JT is in silent. It's hard to get him silent. Right? It's hard to get him silent, Rob.
No conversation. No, let me run this past you. No, what do you think?
It was done.
Before you got on, I said, and this is not something I'm proud of, we have the only community where the men are not respected. There's levels to it, and that doesn't mean there aren't women that don't respect men in our community. What I'm saying is the disrespect of our men is something that is pushed, many times celebrated and encouraged. That is just simple respect.
I agree.
That's it. Agreed.
And don't try to fight back publicly, by the way, because the man will be shamed, right, and ridiculed.
Yep.
If you attempt to say, hey, what must have been, what were you doing? You know what I'm saying? Men that got whole social media,
intimidated,
right? That you
Hey Cam, I'm gonna put it to you like this. I remember having a conversation with my ex-wife, emphasis on ex. And I said, you gonna still throw bombs, but you just gonna be throwing them from the living room. You're gonna be throwing them motherfuckers from the street.
X.
Emphasis on it.
I'm not sure I understand.
Oh,
damn. Even Siri know.
Yeah, Siri jumped in like, hey. Siri, we don't know.
All clear. We don't understand either, Siri. Let me rock this clip right quick. Hold on.
Let's go.
If I do, then I am somehow less than a man. A lot of black men, they'll come into the office and they'll say something like, yeah, I had this problem. I was feeling really down. I just isolated myself for a little bit, put my head down, and just got to work. It's like, okay, well, who did you tell about your problems? Nah, nobody. Well, why didn't you tell anybody about your problems? I didn't want to be a burden. And then we will continue and we'll just keep reframing those thoughts so I can get an idea of what he means by being a burden. And it kind of distills down into this idea that I don't want to have to depend on anybody for anything, because if I do, then I'm somehow less than a man. And that doesn't work.
Thoughts?
I mean, unfortunately, there's a whole lot of realness in that statement. At least for me, it was real, right? Obviously, I've gotten better. You know, I'm blessed to have people like, you know, Rob and JT and, you know, my boy Al and different people, therapy, where now I've realized over the last few years, like, you know what? I'm not going to let these people beat me twice. So you beat me when I was in the relationship or just walking, whether that's familial or amorous, right? And I shrunk myself. We think we're making ourselves bigger because I just need to grind, put my head down and go acquire more. There's something in there. We feel like, you know, I'll just acquire more. I'll get a doper car. I'll do what, I'll get her a bigger house. I'll just keep acquiring things. But none of those things can fix what's broken, right? And we're the ones who are broken just by, we're human, right? Humans get broken. Men generally, but black men especially, get broken, and ain't nobody trying to come and put us back together. And we don't want to say, hey, man, I'm broken. Like, I'm hurting. You know, probably what was crazy is I love my lady. I think my lady's dope. Obviously, she wouldn't be my lady if I don't think she's dope. And earlier, before I hopped on, she came in and she's like, oh, let's put these Christmas things up real quick before you hop on. I said, oh, okay. So I'm getting to it. I know she's busy. I got some business stuff the next couple of days. And so I don't even play Christmas music, but she loves it, right? So I throw it on while we're doing whatever. And as we finished, it really got me emotional because I was thinking about my brother. And dude, I hear the tears from her. You know, she came in, I was like, shit. You know, like, I didn't even want to feel like I robbed her of this joyous familial moment versus me just being human, right? I shrunk myself to just deal with it. And I'm revealing that as like in real time right now. And I'm realizing it's not helping nobody. It ain't helping me.
Right.
It ain't gonna help us come closer, but there's that little bit of, what's she gonna say? This my like, really? Come on, like, what's up? Why you know? And I don't think any human being, right? As I tell Rob, I don't want to feel I'm a human being. Period. I'm not a human worker.
Human doing.
I'm not a human doer. You know what I mean? I'm a human being, and I should be afforded all that comes with that, right? From an emotional standpoint, whether I'm talking to men, whether I'm talking to my woman, because the one advantage, and that's a major one, that women have over us and other races of men, even though those men deal with it too, they're afforded the opportunity to be vulnerable. Right? They're afforded that opportunity to be vulnerable. Not at the level of women, but they're still afforded that. And we're not. And it's incumbent upon us as we redefine or define masculinity, to keep hammering at, it's important that you see me as a human being and not a human doer. And those that do not, you know what? The train for me as a black man, right? I'm going today, right now. I'm gonna call it the black locomotive going forward. That black train is moving. On me being a human being.
Right.
You can get on the train. You cannot get on the train. But the train is moving.
Right.
Those that see me as a human being, come on the train. Stay for as long as you want. Right? Those who don't, you may see me as a human being between, I don't know, Slauson and Florence. Oh, crazy. Once we cross Florence, you're like, you know, I'm cool. Okay, then you got to get off. You got to get on off because this is the infinite thing. It's going forever. And that's just kind of where I've evolved to now. Even having, and you're going to have moments where you you may shrink yourself and bounce back. What'll help you to bounce back is having conversations like this, because I had a moment earlier, and now even as I'm speaking, I can feel myself like nigga, what was you doing? Like, just be you. Like, otherwise, they don't see it, and sometimes we don't see it. We're robbing the relationship too.
Yeah.
Like I want you to love me, but you don't even get to see the full me.
Well, you know, as Jay would say, well, I would say, you know, the gap between expectation and reality is disappointment, right? So when you eliminate the expectation, you're not disappointed. And so, you know, something that Jay would say, and I'll let him say it, is basically, hey man, you gotta do what you do. It's almost like the let them. Like you the Brene Brown piece.
Hey, yes, sir.
You gotta do what you do and let the chips fall. You know, the expecting part is the work. Jump on it, Jay.
Radical acceptance.
Radical acceptance. Radical acceptance all day.
So if you've ever had the experience of expressing yourself or sharing something personal or intimate and having that thing used as a weapon against you later, then it makes you, I would offer you never had the same relationship with that person again.
Filthy work. No, not at all.
And it makes you very gun shy. And they're as men, they're women we'll share a meal with, share a movie with, share a bed with, but won't share our emotions with. Because the first three, they're safe to do it with.
That's wild.
It is difficult to find a person that you could be that with. It is equally as difficult to do it as a man, because again, that's not something that has been passed down from generation to generation. That's a knowledge and a wisdom that we're all discovering on our journey now that wasn't handed to us. And I've been in situations where I haven't shared because of me, and I've been in situations where I haven't shared because of her.
Right.
I've healed certain things about me and came back more healed to somebody, and they didn't like what they were dealing with the more healed person. They longed for the messed up person.
That's right. Yep.
Can I share some on that, JT?
Yeah.
Um, First of all, I think that was hella vulnerable for you to share and accountable all at the same time. That our women can even be the best version of themselves because often they haven't got that version of you or us, right? So very rarely do they have to step up. They think because maybe they dealt with an FN, y'all figure that out, right? And because they dealt with that, and it may have been true, he may have been an FN, and they were a good woman to that FN, right? So now they come to you, but the problem with dealing with an FN is you still may have left that relationship not knowing what your weaknesses and strengths were. You didn't have to have real conversations, right, with the healed version of a JT, where JT could come back and say, no, I'm standing ground on that. That is my boundary. Hey, you know what? You're a little too loud. You disrespectful. Hey, what's up with our intimacy? I've been holding it down over here. That's not optional around here. Like, they're not in that space consistently, right? And they think because they came from the FN that they cool because he's the one that screwed it up. But now you come where we need to have real conversations, real visions, real partnership, real listening, real cooperative, being real cooperative, lack of argument. like you got to come, and now you got to be a real woman. Like when I say a real woman, I mean a real human being that is mature and able to sit down and have conversations, right? Have tough conversations, know what a real man actually looks like, because he is standing on, he got a vision. He's going to work hard, right? He has some expectations of the home, right? You'll hear the women say, it was hard for me to release, because I was so used to. You still want to continue being that. But this man is like, no. I come with some standards, right? I come with some real rules around this thing. And so as I look, and I know this is not about the women, but it makes me think, as great as they think they are, they can be so much greater. Right?
Wow.
When we add that piece, but that piece is missing from them, right? Where like there's real standards, right? Real things and a real maturation process and involvement that won't happen without us giving our piece and just as Carrie would say, hey man, just go ahead and be the man and stand on that square, because whether you do it or don't, right? You stand on it and believe in it, and the greater woman will rise to that. She will rise.
I said this yesterday or two. Yesterday I said this. Advice is only as good as the person that's receiving it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I done gave some of the greatest Easter speeches in the world, and I was Denzel Washington talking to my son, and he looked back at me like, whatever, nigga.
And you was Coach Boone, his mother.
Man, I was like, what is pain? French bread? Like, nah, nigga. And so in that same vein, I could be the best communicator in the world and develop and grow. But if the woman that I'm with has deaf ears,
bingo,
and a closed mind and a closed heart,
yep,
it takes two of us. Communication is a two-way street. And so then it's on me. Wait a minute, hold up, let me finish. Then it's on me to say, okay, either this is someone with the potential and I got to lead and coach it up, or I got to lead myself out the door. Either way, I'm a lead.
Right.
I'm going to show my leadership ability.
Coach yourself.
I'm going to lead you, or I'm going to lead myself.
Facts. But I'm agreeing with you. unfortunately and fortunately, some you will lead to them leaning into the relationship with you. Others may not get it till they get to the next guy. They're still better for it because at some point you like to think people get on purpose in life, right? That's what my dean used to always say. You're gonna get on purpose in life at some point, right? And get on purpose. Like there's things that our parents or mentors told us 25 years ago. And 25 years ago, you were like, you know what? As along the way, you was like, you know what? I remember when he told me that. So I don't know when that plant's gonna grow.
I'm not so sure it does for them, bro.
It may not. I don't know, which is all the more reason though to do what JT said. Just do us.
Yep.
And lead and say it and stand on it. Because those who want to receive the advice will. And those who won't, you put on your white usher gloves, usher them on right on, usher them right on, up and out of there, right? Or usher yourself up and out of there, right? But somebody getting up out of there.
Sure.
But see, here's the thing: we fail in the leadership areas, men, and not having that adult conversation and saying and expressing that.
I agree.
Because it's pink and between 96 and 102 degrees, depending on how you work it, and we kick it for that.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful.
Yeah, but no, I'm saying the power.
Yes.
The impact of no, wait a minute. The impact and power of looking at her and not angry, not sarcastic, not mean.
Yeah,
hey,
I see what you're saying.
I'm expressing myself. I'm sharing with you. I'm here, and you've shown little to no ability to listen or hear me in any significant and meaningful way.
Wow, that's powerful.
And it is a complete and total turnoff.
That's powerful.
And I'm interested in having an adult relationship. And I don't know if you're capable of having that, so I'm going to seek that for my life. Now, it may translate when she call her homegirl and be like, fuck him. But in her heart of hearts, when you got to deal with the person in the mirror, or you got to lay in that bed at night, and you replay that conversation, it's going to hit.
Agree.
Yep.
Agree.
I agree.
We don't know the win.
Yeah, no, but as men, that's a conversation amongst men, and that's another conversation of what true leadership looks like.
Yep.
And it's not mean, it's not spiteful. It's just like, listen, this is the standard. This is what I'm seeking. Women have no problem telling men what they're looking for. We can tell them what we're looking for.
How about that?
And you know what? I think you just gave me a whole different thing to look at, which is all the more reason we stand on our square, by the way. And I think, Rob, you and I may have had this conversation before. As I'm thinking of leadership, or some people say it's leadership, some people may just say being stern, some people may just say, hey, this is my program, you getting on it or you're not, right?
Being direct.
Our women have no problem getting on the FN's program.
No problem.
Are the FNs better leaders? Do they just set the tone early? Is it because they, for whatever reason, they not looking for nothing long term? It makes them more apt to just be raw and open, like, yo, this is what it is. They may even have another chick. But I've watched great, let me not say great women. I've watched accomplished women. What other women would consider that, educate, whatever. And I watched them run around FNs. Like whatever that dude program was on, they was with it. And so it just makes me think of several things, but I'm thinking of effective leadership. I'm thinking of boundaries. I'm thinking of setting a tone, but I'm also thinking I'm gonna keep going back to it. The program's the program, division's division. I'm standing on my square of leadership because you're gonna do what you're gonna do, whether it's effective and you're not listening to the great advice, or I'm just being an FN and I told you what it is, and the program's the program, what? Right? But I think it just goes back to us setting the tone. Because
Cam,
first, if the FN can do it, why I can't do it?
Cam, I've seen men open doors to get laid. I've seen men sing to get laid. I've seen men tap dance to get laid. I've seen men come out with a do-rag on their head like Tupac and fake like they're a thug to get laid. Mm-hmm. I've seen men buy cars to get laid. I've seen men play ball to get laid. I've seen men read poetry to get laid. None of those actions changed who those men were at their core. It was all performance. Similarly, what these women will do in those situations is that's just a performance, but they have not changed or been challenged at their core.
I agree.
When you with somebody that you think you're better than, you don't have to change because ultimately you're better than them.
Look, don't go by that. Don't go by that too fast, JT. Run that last
back. You gotta sit in that. You gotta sit in that.
When you're with a man, a woman's with a man, she knows she's better than him. I'm accomplished. He's not as accomplished. I'm smart. He's not as smart. So I'll perform this. But ultimately, I'm not challenged at my core.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have to look in the mirror to be with him. And if I'm looking in the mirror, it is, why am I with this person that's lesser than me? I could pull the plug in anytime. And nobody will bat an eye, because what did you lose? Everybody will cheer you on the breakup.
They cheer him on anyway.
It's about time. It's about time you smartened up.
Mm-hmm.
I've been told you to leave him, girl.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. It's like whatever. So I mean, they just playing with their food.
That's a bar right there. That's a bar. Oh man, that's dope. Even with the clip, man, just the John Henryism piece of it, of just not feeling that it's a burden if you do. And it's crazy, when I first saw the clip earlier today, thought about you two cats. Y'all live that. You know what I'm saying? For the most part, y'all not gonna say nothing. You just gonna do what needs to be done and keep it pushing. You know what I mean? There'll be those times when, we have all over the years from engaging with one another and, just situations, have learned to, speak and talk and share a little bit more. But yeah, that what he was describing in the clip was spot on, I thought. And it's like, where did we learn that? Where did we figure out that was the way to be? And how do we heal enough to say that doesn't work for me?
I know when I learned it, I've grown up just around all women, aside from my uncle. Just straight women, grandmother, great grandmother, aunt, mother. The best version of structure in Black masculinity I got was when I went to foster home, and he was old school. right? He was an old, he was a reverend, but he was the old because they were older when they got us.
Right.
But he's pretty much the, not a lot of dialogue. You know what I
Right.
mean? Definitely in control of the home, though. He was in control of the home and provided for the home, but they didn't have a lot of interaction where you could see. It was an old school relationship, you know.
Yeah, separate bed.
Not separate bed,
Okay.
but she, like, I don't remember him doing anything domestic. I don't.
Gotcha.
He fished. He earned money. He put it there. She take it to him to his big rocking chair kind of deal. He read scripture on Sunday night, that type of thing, before he went to bed. But it was structured. I appreciate the structure. And that was short lived. But everything else was just chaotic. And if you're dealing with 4 women who got their own issues with each other and their situations and them figuring out life, and the only thing they're committed to is their feelings. And I forget the scientific thing. Your feelings and thoughts, it's like 60,000 to 80,000 a day. And if you committed to how that go, and so I would sit and watch, right? And I would just learn to, okay, how am I going to just manage from day to day? I don't even want to be in that hurricane and tornado of all that. It's not healthy. Let me figure it out on my own, because I better not go to them with my little problem with all this, going on. And so for me, I learned to let me just try to figure it out on my own, which sounds great. There's some resilience there, right? Some determination there. But you get into relationships or trying to have one, and it's not a healthy space to be, because you're looking at a partnership, right? Like, that's what you're looking to hope to have a healthy partnership. And I didn't have those tools early on. I thought I needed to figure it all out on my own. I feel differently now, but I thought that, and that's where I got it from.
Jay?
I didn't have any relationship goals growing up. Even though I come from a family where people, meaning like I come from a family where people are married. And actually, my family, we really a functional, dysfunctional bunch. And it's respect amongst each other, and we work together, men and women. But in terms of relationship goals, there wasn't a marriage or a relationship that I saw anybody have that I was like, oh, I'm gonna have that. I was raised primarily by my grandparents, and the generational divide, it didn't match up with my experience as a young man. So I thought that their type of relationship wasn't realistic for my time. And what I was attracted to relationship wise didn't really exist in the young women that were my peers, because I was raised by my grandparents. So, and then my other influence was my mother, and she didn't say it like this, but her philosophy was run them up. And she was basically like, don't settle down, just have fun. And there's no shortage of don't settle down and just have fun, girls.
Yeah,
right.
If that's what you're looking for,
right.
And that number is growing the way the world works. So I think that you seek and ye shall find. The men that I knew in school and that were looking for wives found wives.
Good point.
And and so I don't I won't go into great detail, But you know, a few times my son called me for relationship advice. You know, there's a lot of times it didn't go the way he thought it was gonna go. But one time he broke
Run
up
them
with his
hoes.
girlfriend. He had broke up with his girlfriend, and he was messing around. He thought he was trying to be player, and then he went out and saw this chick that he was messing with another dude. He called me in his feelings.
Mm.
And he was like, "Pops, what should I do?" I was like, "Nothing. The hoes for everybody.
It's for the
You
street.
broke up with." I said, "You broke up with your girl. That's everybody's girl.
Right.
You got to learn the difference. She doing her job." You know, I said, "You out here hoping to set and run point. That ain't how the game goes, son."
He said that's everybody.
Her resume matched her performance.
That's what I'm saying. It's in the bio, baby. So he didn't, you know, at the time, he didn't like what I said. Now he's a little older. He appreciates what I was trying to convey, you know. And I told him, I said, "You're not built for this. I've raised you as a relationship dude. I've raised you as the kind of, you know, respectful young man, you know, the vision I have for you." I said, "So you trying to bounce outside the gate, and it's rough in them streets." I said, "You need to come back inside. You were born and raised in a structured environment. You know, you can't go beyond Thunderdome.
Can go in the
Yeah,
jungle, baby.
nah, you know."
Crazy.
And
Hey,
I told
right
him like
here.
Bane. I told him like Bane told Batman. I said, "Oh, you playing in the dark. I was born in it. You just adopted."
Come on, man. Come on, man.
Real
I
talk,
said,
man.
you know, so I it tie it back into to me. It wasn't until like I felt like I had life, quote unquote, together,
Mm,
and I was like, "Man, but I don't have a wife though."
mm,
And even in that,
Mm.
I didn't go about it the right way
mm.
for long term success.
Well, between the three of us, we batting what 33% in the marriage department right now. Like in the have a wife department. Look,
Yeah, it's true. And I don't, you know, I crack just about everything, but I don't blame my ex for any of it because I got down on my knee and I asked for it.
Mhm.
So
okay.
she was the woman I chose.
Right.
And so, and she's not a bad woman. She's a good person. She's a great mother. But in terms of our long term success, I didn't have the filters set up
Mm.
to even, I didn't have the mindset to have the conversations to dig in and really get to it
Mm.
ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're not gonna get the right answers if you're not asking the right questions and you
Mhm.
don't know what to look for. And so she passed every test because I was handing out the wrong test.
Mm.
It was on me.
That's great right there.
And I bring it all the way back around. That's another aspect of leadership that we're not talking about and we're not teaching.
Mm.
I agree.
Stretch around.
It makes me. I love how you put that, passing out the wrong test.
That's a bar.
And first of all, at least you passed out a test. Many of us don't even. Nigga, we passing out short quizzes. Nigga, like you know, she fine. She seemed cool. You know, like there's
Then
so
you get to
many.
the deep question.
Like man, there's so many things I would ask early on to then watch early on when they came up, whether they came up with me or I watched them come up in other aspects of that person's life, right? hey, when you are moody and you are married to your feelings, how do you deal with disagreement? You know, with a
That
person
part.
often. Um,
How did your
do
parents deal with it?
How did your parents deal with it? You know, do you feel like, hey, like I have a vision? Do you want your man to have a vision? Are you gonna trust that? Right? Or do you have the mental space right now to do that? They may say, what does that look like? Which is all the more reason, JT, for me to know, right, coming in. I've talked to you, I've talked to Rob, I've had an uncle, I've had a father, I've got some experience. Now, let me bring that test here over some dates, right? And to be willing, no matter how fine you are, to say we may not get to the second, third, or fourth date.
Right.
Even though we had a great time. You know what I mean? We had a great time. She seemed to be feeling me. Well, nigga, I'm a cool nigga. Like, I'm funny and shit. You should be feeling me. Right? I'm not saying it to be cocky. Hey, first of all, I think I'm a cool nigga. And when grading on the curve, nigga, I'm kind of
winning.
Hey, I'll go up, some notches. But I'll say that to say, I think a lot of us cower from the real test. The real test of it's a macro question to say, hey, what are you looking for in a man in a relationship with you? Versus, if you're looking for in a man in a relationship, they all say the same. I just want to be nice. I want to be kind. As if you're then going to be nice and kind and understand. No, I'm talking in a relationship with you.
Right? Cam, let me give you a question that I ask now.
Yes, sir.
That I've asked. What's the most important part of a man's character to you?
That's a great question.
Because now we're not talking about job and status and money and experience and travel and bullshit. What's the most important part of a man's character to you? And I didn't ask that, because there's a couple fights, man. When I was married, I used to call my ex-wife Charlie because I knew I was in Vietnam.
Oh, snap.
I was like, I know she got some Agent Orange in the bathroom. She about to come out from that tunnel, tear my ass up. No, but it's so at this point, not only for me, but now my son's engaged, is to pass on this generational wealth that I can give him. And then my future grandchildren can have that. So my bloodline isn't starting at zero. So that I had a very long conversation yesterday about, and I'm also having these conversations with my daughter about how to vet men and make his character the most important thing. What does he stand on? What's his morality? What are his principles? What's his foundational guiding principles? If you know that, you're good. He'll figure out everything else to make sure his family works. But I don't care if he's pre-med and tall and smart. If he doesn't have any grounding foundational principles, you'll be just another notch on the belt and the next thing on his resume.
Yep.
And so this is where I'm at in that. And one of the callings on my life is fatherhood, and it's the most important thing I've done in this life, and it's greater than me.
I love that.
I pass it on.
as you said that, I literally wrote something down. And I think I texted to you, but I don't even know if you got it. You said because you got some experience, JT, right? You got some experience now. We got experience, right? And what we passing down, I'm gonna call it the RIP, RIP,
R.I.P.
SBL Lounge. Listen,
Cam's Corner, R.I.P.
relationship intellectual property. What have I acquired in all these relationships that I've learned? Right, things that are effective, things that can veer left. A lot of times we've all spoke to people that were married 30, 40 years, and we're curious. B, you always say stay curious. You know, we like to ask them, man, what is it? I mean, what did y'all? They're given some relationship intellectual property, right? I think part of our masculinity as men is, you know what, son? Like you just said, the morality piece, the character piece, that great question that you asked, that our mentees, we're passing that to them. Our sons, we're passing that to them. So now in they first, second, third dates, when they're looking for a wife and not just fun, they have a different prism than we had, you know, back then, because we didn't even have that RIP. I didn't have it. I don't know if I didn't have it. So I'm out there thinking, well, she fine. Is she nice? And she chose up. You know what I mean? So you gave birth to that, JT, as you were speaking. That really touched me. To make sure that those are things I'm giving to my daughters. My son turns 18 tomorrow. And all the daughters I have, thank you, that we can shift some of the narrative, right? We can shift that as we're defining our masculinity. It's incumbent upon us, because for years we've primarily only had the female voice, right? The black mother, the black grandmother, the aunt, the chick, speaking on their journey in the relationship. We have to be strong enough to speak on our experiences in the relationship, what worked, what didn't work, things we learned, things to look for, things for us to maintain and do, things that we should question, and be firm on it enough and have our shit together enough. Hey, to put the usher gloves on, JT. If we ushering somebody out. I'm either ushering myself out, I'm ushering you out, but the train is leaving. Okay, the train is leaving.
Hey,
right?
I grew up in the Baptist church. Don't make me put my usher gloves on. I'm junior usher. We are soldiers.
Hey, those are our seats. 3 and 4.
Get that rock? Sure. Don't get me. You gotta hold on.
Uh-oh. So on that note, we're gonna shut this thing down.
Yes, sir.
For everybody listening, paying attention, watching this when you watch it, hit the like button, share, subscribe. Big ups to Cam, Coach Cam. Big ups to CT, aka JT. Cam, where can they find you?
They can find me on IG at MR Gems in the Gym, MRGEMSINTHEGYM, Mr. Gems in the Gym, on Twitter, X. What is it? X? Is it Twitter? Whatever. Just Gems in the Gym. That's where you can find me. Check me out.
Dope. JT, where can they find you?
At work tomorrow, and remember, when you get to a certain age, stretch marks are just a roadmap.
That's wisdom right there. That's wisdom. Big ups to Tally and Twine. Go and get that Tuskegee Airman joint. Fire. Big ups to the gathering spot. Big ups to Dio behind the boards. Hey, we up out here. Man, we gotta get some sound effects or something, Dio.
Yeah, my little pew, 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 pew.
I said that. So we out of here. We'll see y'all next week.
Yes,
All
Peace.
right. So Diego, you got there it is.